Anyways, spawning here in the top right corner of the map, this gentleman, this fine man, has taken game number 1 in the semifinals. It's a best of 3, and he's got to win this one if he wants to move on to the finals. It is the blue Zerg player, Violet. Who, if we're gonna be honest, should probably be blue, am I right? Or purple, I mean. Bad pun wasted. His opponent in the top left from Complexity Gaming, the purple Zerg player, the Canadian, the North American, and the only North American left in the ZOTAC Cup, Hendralisk, who is going for... both players are going for incredibly early pools. Okay, so here's what's weird. I've seen 6 pool versus 6 pool. I've seen 10 pool versus 10 pool. I have never seen 8 pool versus 8 pool. We'll see how this goes. It's going to be low amounts of Zerglings. I highly doubt anyone's going to be able to afford to go for Banelings behind this. But this will be a scrappy game. Now it's curious, like, it's not the fact that they both chose to go for like a somewhat of a cheesier all-in build to start game number 3 with, but it's the fact that they went for the exact same one that I find to be so curious, so interesting. 6 links coming out. There's going to be a lot of micro wars involved here. Now, what's really nice to consider is the fact that, like, let's say I don't know, randomly Violet wins the Zergling fight, and he's left with, say, 3 links over Hendralisk's, and Hendralisk has nothing left at home. Well, with a queen out for both, combined with drones, no one should lose this game to pure Zerglings, especially if they nestle the queen somewhere behind, like the mineral lines. But they're going to awkwardly find each other here in the middle of the map. And if you guys have never seen Zergling Micro, we're going to, and it's going to be incredibly important that they play this out correctly and precisely. Micro Wars. Who has played more Micro Wars in the custom arcade maps, guys? That's kind of like this meeting, by the way. It's like, well, this is awkward. Like, 2 girls coming to the same dance wearing the same dress type. Awkward, but... Hendralisk has a couple more Zerglings. He can certainly take a Zergling fight, but not with a queen. If the queen gets involved, these Zerglings don't stand a chance. A queen's DPS is nothing to scoff at, and it really does add a lot, especially to these very low health units. Hendralisk, realizing this, decides not to take this fight. Violet is going to take his natural, and Hendralisk will probably follow suit here in a moment's time. Although he is mining gas, so that may not be the case. Although one basing it at this point is very risky. And I don't know that I like Hendralisk thinking about doing that. So no, he will take his natural, just a little bit delayed, and that's okay. But he'll have metabolic boost over his opponent in quite a large way. Violet's going to be playing this gasless, so because no damage was actually done, like, this is going to become one of those normalized games, which is weird. And by normalized, I mean Hendralisk is probably not going to move out till about the 6-minute mark, 5-minute mark maybe, depending on larva injects and what he decides to invest into this. But 2 queens on the front line are going to make sure that he does not get too far into this. A couple things did want to scout towards the main. He doesn't lose anything. I'm like sitting here with my finger over the button waiting to press it, but... Rock's taking out a spine crawler coming down here too. Violet is playing this pretty well for gasless. The problem is with this creep spread being a little bit delayed, he did have to make a tumor earlier on. Not that that's a big deal, because you can't even spend the money you're using your injects on at the moment anyways, but still. Metabolic boost is finishing up here in a moment for Hendralisk. He's left 1 drone mining, guys, so he can eventually transition out of this, but yeah, somewhat limited on what he can do. Can't really take a Zergling fight at the ramp. Knows the spine crawler's there, knows the queen's there. Really can't do too much damage here at the natural, unfortunately. Would obviously love to tear this down if given the opportunity, but will not find himself with that opportunity. Joining up behind this, both players, though. Hendralisk does have a bit of a drone lead right now, curiously enough, but Violet's going to match that with this next wave of drones. That's kind of, again, the difference of an injector, too. Not the end of the world, but not the biggest difference. The gas count, though, out of Hendralisk, though, is going to make a bit of a difference here. We got Baneling Nest on the way, and looks like we will have that aggression that Rifkin so loves to see. Oh, hey, something finally died. Blood. Anyways, link fights are not going to go too well for Hendralisk. He is trying to micro these around to go for scouting information, pick off a drone or 2. Seeing that his opponent's got double gases but no layers, going to put a little bit of ease on his mind, knowing that's not going to be anything too insane. No quick Mutalisk for him to worry about. If he had hidden those Zerglings up here on the base, maybe he could have gotten away with a little bit more. Wait, did he kill a queen? No, that was an Overlord dying. Okay, never mind. I was like, wait, how did Hendralisk lose so many units? But anyways, An Overlord did go down to the Queen, so I guess misrouted a little bit. Gonna supply block him, but he already made a new one, so not an issue. Moving on to Lair, though, this is the window of opportunity that Ling just scouted. The fact that Lair started so late and the gases were perhaps not the quickest things in the world, knowing that his opponent started gasless with the amount of Queens in the Spine Crawler revealed. Well, an educated guess, maybe not knowing, but still, if he can get ahead of Mutalisks, even just a little bit, maybe that's where he's going to find his victory in this game. But unfortunately for him, he's going to have to deal with a counterattack of small Lings. The 100 gas that Violet saves from Metabolic Boost gets invested into the Roach weapons instead. And while he is going on to Lair, it's not going to be for his own Mutalisks, but instead Roaches with probably +1/+1, I would imagine. A big part of this is, of course, because he's not taking that 4th gas, and, well, where else are you going to spend that money? A couple Spine Crawlers going to come at home. I think a lot of this has to do with because he's got a low Zergling count, more so than because he's expecting Roaches, but Queen on the ramp will not be able to keep these Lings out from scouting the Spire, which is going to be revealed here in a moment. So the jig is up, Hendralisk. I'm going to lose a drone here, actually. A couple drones. Nope, actually, never mind. No workers killed. Nice. Cancels the 2nd Spine, thinking he doesn't need it. We actually have from Violet an Infestation pick coming out really quickly after scouting that Spire. So Fungal Growths will be available. The Infestors will not be late. Of course, you can put some Spore Crawlers down if you really need to. Hendralisk sees the Infestation pit, and the read you get from that is going to be weird. Because, like, again, it takes so many Fungals to actually kill Mutalisks. Especially if you got Queens under them too. It still doesn't add that much extra DPS, but still, a Fungal or 2 is going to be something to worry about. Is he really going to go for a 4th? Well, that's a really greedy base to take, but I guess we're thinking his opponent's going to be spending a lot of time getting his tech up, lots of gas invested say into Infestors and Fungal Growths, rather than moving on the map with a lot of Roaches. He might be able to get away with that 4th base. And there's like, what is it, Warcraft 3, Starcraft 2, cheat code, greed is good? Maybe Hendralisk will make it live up to its name, but again, he's taking risks here in a game where he's down 1 in the series. Can't blame him for doing so, but these Mutalisks coming out will be limited on what they can do. Oops, 7 out here initially. Pathogen Lens is already researching, and of course, what's really nice is with +1 weapons, it will complement Hydralisks if he really needs to get them, but you know, Overseer combined with the Lings earlier saw this was coming, so there's no need to hide the Mutalisks. Picks off the Overseer quite nicely, and we'll get some map control for this, and this is actually going to be pretty key. The low amount of Lings poking around down here, the odd Overlord here. I mean, Hendralisk has what is not quite full vision of the map, but really good information as far as scouting goes. He'll know when and where Violet pushes out. Even if this one Roach in the middle of the map is going to get scouted. And I really hate that the Control F feature doesn't work right now. Yeah. Roaches die so gruesomely when it's only just one of them. Although I guess they probably all die gruesomely, we just don't notice when there's like 19 dying at a time. 5 Infestors coming out though! Oh, sorry, 1 sec. 5 Infestors coming out though. If each of these can land a Fungal with a couple Infested Terrans and a Queen, Mutalisks will certainly die. And Hendralisk is unfortunately, or fortunately depending on your point of view, investing into these. I think he's expecting Hydralisks to be coming out too, not Infestors. A big part of this is of course because he's making the Baneling nest. Banelings are fantastic versus Hydralisks, but that's not going to be the case. He has kind of separated one Mutalisk on purpose out of the flock to scout around to make sure that he doesn't get all of them Fungal at once. It's kind of like a, I don't know, like a scout within a scout. But Violet, as we take a look at his vision, guys, so limited. His creep and his base is all he can see. Whereas Hendralisk has got God mode vision on. He sees everything. And that 4th base. Man, that 4th base is minding to just truck it away right now. Of course, that's going to allow 10 more Mutalisks to come out. But again, I'm not sure I'm loving the choice of Mutalisks per se. Baneling Nest, was it canceled and remade again? No, he's just making a second one, perhaps not realizing he already has one down. Hendralisk, oh, Hendralisk, what are you doing? Anyway, so Banelings with speed are going to be fantastic. What's going to be really important about this, though, is not getting them Fungal. Just like the Mutalisks, a Fungal can shut them down. And in some instances, a Fungal will just straight up kill them if landed 2 at a time. But the Hydralisks, being light units, go down so quickly to Banelings, guys, especially if they got centrifugal hooks. And if there's no Hydralisks, and the Infestors are busy trying to Fungal the Banelings instead of the Mutalisks, then the Mutalisks kind of get to run rampant for a while. But we'll see what ends up happening. He still wants to make sure his opponent hasn't also snuck in another base. So we see Hendralisk constantly scouting near the Mutalisks patrolling around. Again, information and vision is everything he was going for him. Roaches and Hydras starting to push out. The Infestors as well. Hendralisk perhaps hoping to hide the amount of Mutalisks, the sheer volume of 30 at a time. The problem is with the low Hydralisk count, and I say low very tentatively, guys, it's not even going to be able to deal with the, easy to deal with the Mutalisks in the first place. Like, he's going to have to land a Fungal, he's going to have to get Infested Terrans, and on top of that, he's going to have to somehow DPS them down without worrying these Banelings. 12 of them are coming in, but there's a huge buffer in front of this, so, like, for Hendralisk, baiting out Fungals on the Banelings is going to be a fantastic scenario, but even better would be connecting them to the Hydralisks. Man. Alright, coming in from multiple angles. Banelings coming in from behind do get fungled, but that means the Mutalisks are left somewhat unscathed. Hydralisks are trying to focus fire, and their damage is really good, but the Mutalisks are just so numerous, and coming in from multiple angles takes out all the Hydralisks except for 3, but there's not a lot of anti-air, giving chase to the Infestors, the expensive units, leaving enough Mutalisks behind, and unfortunately, one more fungal may have finished them off, but because it didn't, the regen from the Mutalisks, the tissue regeneration, should be able to kick in and make them full health once again. The Infestors have been plucked clean right off the map, and a couple drones will die here at the natural, but realistically, Hendralisk comes out of this fight pretty darn good. 13 Mutalisks for 16 Hydras, not looking too shabby. Resources lost, not looking too bad either. Army supply-wise, obviously much better than Violet, and Violet's supply, what little he has been inflated by those by the roaches, but what's coming up next is a Remax, is a huge amount of Infestors, and I don't know, guys. I don't know. If Hendralisk gets clumped up, it's that same danger presented as the game versus Jakshi, where if these Mutalisks are really clumped up, a fungal growth like a Thor volley could end this game. But that's going to be very difficult to do. Hendralisk has shown multiple times now, very adept at coming from multiple angles, not getting caught too clumped up. This fourth base for Violet, if this doesn't get up and secured, I don't think it's going to. Hendralisk is on the warpath, guys. He's got 20 Lings going to flood underneath this too. There's just not a lot. Violet just simply doesn't have a lot. He's got he's got level 2 upgrades, he's got +1 armor, but none of that's going to matter because he doesn't have a lot that shoots upwards. This is looking really good for Hendralisk. Fourth base for Violet, though. This is one of those things that will slowly get him back in the game, but it looks like some Zerglings will stumble upon it, will happen upon it accidentally, if you will. The sheer amount of Fungals means Banelings aren't going to work, which means I'd be really surprised if he invested in too many. You're still going to want some, just on the off chance that he doesn't fungal them, of course, but as we saw, Violet's reaction was so quick to Hendralisk coming in from like 3 different angles and still lands all the Fungals he needed to keep the Banelings back. But as stated before, you need like 5 Fungals to kill a Mutalisk, you need like a lot of extra DPS on top of that too. The longer Hendralisk waits, though, the bigger the army of Violet's going to get, and the harder it's going to be to decisively kill this. Like, if that Mutalisk flock had swung down here, maybe he picks off the base and gets on out. But this is so many Mutalisks. This is 33 Mutalisks. Lots of Banelings rolling in underneath this. It's going to be hard to pick what he fungals, but Violet's going to have to pick something. On top of a Spore Crawler, a lot of these do get fungled, actually. And, oh, the fungal growth on the Banelings is going to absolutely crush them underneath this. But the Mutalisk splits, and in 2 different places at once. Are there enough Hydralisks to take this on? Falling back now, Hendralisk actually did take a lot of losses there, but over half of his Mutalisks died, and the Banelings did not get a lot accomplished. Looking at the resources lost, kind of in the gutter, but that's the opportunity afforded of having that 4th base up so damn early. This base of Violet, while it might be standing, isn't going to be mining anytime soon. A couple Lings going to run towards the main. There's only a Queen and like 5 Spore Crawlers to defend. A couple Hydralisks here in the natural are going to try and hold against these Lings, but they're trying to run past everything just to go for drone kills. Unfortunately, the drone kills he gets are somewhat limited. A couple Lings are caught down here towards the south. Another good fungal goes off. And this base, well, both players are on such an insane amount of drones. I almost think they'd be helping each other by picking off some of the workers. But Hendralisk has taken another base. Still ahead of Violet as far as economy goes, but only just barely. Lings really did not accomplish too much, and the fact that he's remaking more Mutalisks, I'm not sure I necessarily love this choice. But he's invested so much into them, it's hard not to. You can't be like, okay, well I got level 2 upgrades, forget Mutalisks, let's go for naked Zerglings. Like, that's not going to happen. And the Banelings have been a great choice, but unfortunately Violet's skill is too good to let that happen, at least blindly. Mutalisks do have to be careful. Would really start to, the problem is obviously you can't run around the main or the natural, right? Like, there's a ring of Spore Crawlers down, and there's not enough Mutalisks to DPS through that before he loses his whole army. But gonna catch the Roach Squad, make sure that he doesn't take any unnecessary losses here himself. More Lings trying to run by, but not a decent situation to be in. That corpse looked really weird. Fungal growth catches half of them. But that army of Violet is at Hendralisk's doorstep, guys. There's 54 Lings coming out, but These are 54 lings without upgrades. They're going to have to try and take this army on. He does dodge one of the fungals there quite nicely, but right on top of the Hydralisk is where he wants to fight, in range of them, instead of out of range of them, stuck in a fungal. Looks like the Infestors did go down, and the Hydralisks reinforcing aren't going to work due to the Mutalisks cutting them off. The Roach is going to clear out some of these units, but the Mutalisks, oh boy, the Mutalisks still live. He's lost 41 so far this game. That's 4,100 gas if you guys can consider that for a second, but still lots remaining. Will clean this up, albeit just barely. Small amount of queens in the middle of the map. We're chasing off a couple of Mutalisks too, and the Zerglings are at best just kind of buffers for damage. They soak some hits. That's really about it. He did kill a lot of drones in that attack though. Hendralisk seriously lost like half of his drone force in that Roach Hydralisk attack. More Roaches heading towards the main are going to kill even more workers. Actually, I take that back. Most of the ones in the main were already cleared out. So Hendralisk actually finds himself on a very low drone count, awkwardly enough. Obviously would love to go for a counterattack with this going on, but he has to clean up everything at home. He's going to lose that Spire. Really unfortunate. Hive is on the way, but Spire, as stated before, going to go down. So this means no more Mutalisks coming out for a little bit. A couple of Infestors hanging around the main do need to be picked off. He saw those. I know he saw those with that Overseer. Does he really? Oh gosh, he doesn't see them. Well, as the Overseers move out in a moment, he should see them, I think. Last couple of burrowed units being taken care of. A couple Roaches towards the south, gonna catch some more drones. No burrow available for Hendralisk, sadly. And looks like he did not quite kill the Roaches at the main. Perhaps a bit of a mistake, thinking he's got to respond to the south a little bit too quickly. Not that there's a lot left for these to pick off, but I mean, slowly but surely, they'll chip away at the Infestation Pit, the Hive, what have you. There's one Zerg player, and only one Zerg player I know in all of StarCraft 2. Oh no, sorry, 2. That will make Broodlords in ZVZ, and that's Bly and Nurchio. Would love to see Hendralisk go for it though, just because. But a Queen goes down. His drone count is still incredibly low. But again, at this stage of the game, having a lower drone count might actually help more than hurt. It makes his army supply a little bit larger. Violet, though, with a massive supply lead in general right now. And I like this at a Hendralisk, an Ultralisk Cavern coming out. Kind of cool. So here's the thing that's frustrating about Ultralisks, right? Like, even with 3/3 upgrades, which Violet does not have, chewing through Ultralisk armor with units on the ground is not an easy thing to do. Not without free units like, say, a Swarm Host or something, right? But Hendralisk is, he's got to buy time for that to happen. Those Ultras will not be out anytime soon, and of course 3/3 is not done or anything even close to it. His armor upgrades are actually going to be relatively weak for those Ultras when they do spawn, so maybe they're not going to quite get the tanking job he wants to have done. Where are those Overseers? A little bit trailing behind. Nobody's Carapace starting up 25 minutes of the game. You know, some pretty standard stuff. Does he see the Infestor? No, so Infestor Chain's going to raid down here. Army is going to be driven more towards the north once again. There's 6 Ultralisks coming out. Will these be in time to take the army on? The Mutalisks will... I don't think Mutalisks will cut it this time. There's too many anti-air units here, whether it's going to be the Hydralisk, fungal growths, or a hell of a lot of infested Terrans. Hendralisk is going to pre-spread and try and engage this without getting his whole army fungal, but a good fungal catches a lot of the Mutalisks, sadly out of range of the Hydralisk, but it will allow the Mutalisks to go down to the fungals themselves. The Ultralisks are popping up, perhaps a little bit too late, coming in from the angles, getting choked out a little bit here. The infested Terrans going down, but this is not looking good for Hendralisk. Actually, I take that back. Ultras from the south getting choked out here by the infested Terrans, acting as Sim City. A little bit too strong. Violet will take it 2-0 and break Rifkin's heart, but will send him to the finals to fight against either Tassadar or Ghost. So the ZVP finals, guys.